Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another weekly video. This is your host, Prickly Hedgehog, and of course this is another weekly update about news and information on the things going on in DCS World, our favorite modern combat jet simulator, and also not so modern. I hope you're all doing very well. Let's take a look at the news this week, which involves open beta bug fixing, of course, the Syrian map, and a little bit of stuff about helicopters here. So let's begin. Well, let's begin with the sale, because that's coming to an end shortly on the 13th of July. And I've bit my lip here, so I hope I don't stumble too much, but every now and again I keep catching the same lump. It's really irritating. So if I'm stumbling over my words or making weird sounds, that's why. Anyway, the 13th of July at midnight GMT, that is when the sale ends. I think there is some differences with this sale, of course, and the Steam version, so that may not apply to the Steam. Nevertheless, the standalone, you've got a couple of days, the weekend basically, to pull the trigger on some goodies to flesh out the virtual hangar with. So don't miss out if you're, if you've been procrastinating on throwing money at a jet or a World War II bird or whatever it is that you've wanted to buy. Double check, make sure you've got your ability to pick up a good bargain, because they don't always come around, although the Eagle Dynamics have been very generous this year, I must say. Alright, so that's that. Helicopters. A little bit of news about a helicopter tournament which I'm not familiar with, and this is brought to us via the 104th Phoenix group, and they are live streaming at this event on Twitch and YouTube. What it involves is a 20 versus 20 helicopter brawl, basically, and on the red team we have 10 KA-50s and 10 MI-8s. On the blue team we have 10 Gazelles and 10 Hueys. It looks like a little bit of fun. Basically, the objective of the game is to sling cargo into an area which will apparently activate the anti-aircraft missile systems in the area. And yeah, it looks like a little bit of fun. They get a couple of lives each or so, and go for it. So if you're interested in that, I will throw up the links, if I remember, to that. Like I said, the intention looks like a lot of fun. I'm not familiar with this group, but I'm sure it would be fun to watch. So a little bit of entertainment for you tomorrow afternoon, or wherever you are. It might be a different time zone. Just double check that. Don't miss out if you are keen to see that. Alright, let's get back to the specific news of open beta bug squashing, which is a big one, and Eagle Dynamics is continuing to work on that. I know a lot of you have expressed positive opinions about this and the need for it. Well, good news is it is continuing, and the process enables Eagle Dynamics to better prepare for the next DCS World 2.5.6 open beta release. This week they have been working on small graphic glitches whilst continuing to improve the overall load time and frame rate when running high graphics settings. We are also working on multiplayer server glitches seen in large missions, and these issues were reported by our closed beta testing teams. So we have started the final test and debug iteration to ensure we deliver a reliable open beta. We would like to thank all of our internal and beta tester friends for their efforts needed to find, engage, and destroy the bugs. So very, very positive. Remember that we're not due apparently for a major update until mid-July, and the updates and other goodies that we typically have been getting earlier in the year leading up to now have been sort of put on hold so that the bug squashing could be addressed, in order to address the concerns that a lot of the community have expressed about bugs basically in the game, which is good news, and as I said, a lot of you agree. Now, of course, if you were paying attention earlier this week, the Syrian map has been something of a point of excitement, and Matt Wagner, aka Wags, produced a wonderful video of him getting up into the air with an F-16 and bombing the crap out of some targets with that aircraft, and it seemed to be a pretty popular video. A lot of people looking forward to this map. Now, as I said to you a couple of weeks ago, this is brought to us by Ugra Media. I'm throwing up images now so you can see what we're talking about here. There were some nice images thrown up on the forums, which was cool to see. That's where I pulled these images from. Be interesting to see how this map goes, and I'm hoping the bug squashing is also going to be part of this process. Remember that Ugra Media also produced the Normandy map, and a lot of people have talked about, frame rate issues with Normandy, but of course this is part of a broader issue with Eagle Dynamics' game engine rather than necessarily specific maps. And of course there's so many different varieties of computers out there and how they process or tackle the software with the hardware architecture, so you get a lot of variation. But generally speaking, yeah, there was some common complaints with Normandy. Now, some of these have been rectified as far as I'm aware, and I'm hoping the same is going to be true for, of course, Syria, which is a lot more detailed, has a lot more object stuff to render. We've got a lot of airports. We have a lot of detail, like I said, in this particular map, so it's going to be very critical that it functions properly, or people are going to be gnashing their teeth. And I don't think that is what Ugra Media certainly want, and obviously Eagle Dynamics as well. They want this product to be successful, because I think it is going to be a very, very attractive package for people to purchase, a welcome addition to the game, just because of the contentious nature of the area, and the possibility of creating some really interesting missions. So what have they said about it? Well, it's a unique theater of war that includes missions and campaigns of military confrontation in the Middle East from the 60s to the present day, and as a result of that, the project allows users to apply nearly the entire arsenal of DCS World aircraft, helicopters, and ground equipment. It also includes the possibility to reenact some of the largest military conflicts of our time. Well, this includes the Six-Day War of 1967, the Arab-Israeli conflict of 1973, the Lebanese War of 1982, and of course the war on international terrorism in the 21st century. Of course, I'm just such a human tragedy in all of this as well. The ISIS issue in parts of Syria, northern Iraq, and what have you, and stretching all the way across effectively into Turkey. But just this powder keg of a region, and the broader implications it's had for Europe in terms of refugees and displacement, murder and mayhem, of course. So it's in some ways, this map is a contentious one because of the human crisis, the human rights crisis there. But in other ways too, it's also kind of a valuable thing, because it allows us to kind of recreate some really interesting conflicts during that period, as mentioned. All right, so they've gone on to say here that the reasons for these conflicts were ideological and economic, not only for the countries of the Middle East, but also the USA and USSR powers. DCS Syria is a symbol of real modern war. The Syrian theater will contain military confrontation sites such as the Homs province and Aleppo Citadel, Golan Heights, and the Bekaa Valley. Ground-based anti-aircraft missile systems, unmanned aerial vehicles, and air-to-air missiles were used here for the first time on a large scale. We've got about 900 airplanes and helicopters which were destroyed during these conflicts. So, yeah, like I said, kind of a conflicted area. In the next publication, they're going to talk about Beirut International Airport, the Israeli military airfield of Ramat David, and the largest US Air Force base in the Middle East, which is in Turkey, in Gulik, I think it is pronounced, which, yeah, interesting stuff. Now, one last mention here in terms of sale, which I didn't mention before. Obviously the sale ends here pretty quickly, but there is also the Flaming Cliffs 3 sale, which I think is worthwhile mentioning. Remember that if you don't own any individual modules and you've just got the base game, the purchase of Flaming Cliffs 3 for only $24.99 right now will give you access to quite a flood of aircraft, which includes the F-15C, the A-10A, the Su-27, the Su-33, the MiG-29A, MiG-29S, and the Su-25, all in one single download. Now, again, the caveat here is that these are non-full fidelity aircraft. They are just the non-clickable cockpits, so to speak. But a good way to get into the game if you're not ready for the full fidelity experience and just don't have the time but want to fly around and have some fun. Certainly how I started, and once I got a taste for that, I started splashing out on the individual, more complex modules, which are going to soak up a lot more of your time and, of course, your money. But nevertheless, a nice way to get into the game if you don't have a lot of money or a lot of time. It still gives you a pretty cool flight experience. The Su-27 I really enjoy, and the F-16, of course, is very, very popular too. Plus the MiG-29A. So lots of different aircraft there, different flying characteristics. The Su-25 too is kind of an ugly spud of an aircraft, but it's also quite fun to fly. Quite a bit different from the faster jets. It's similar to the A-10 in terms of the speed and what you can do with it. So some interesting comparison points there. All right, I think that'll do. Let me know what your thoughts are below. Looking forward to some updates. Looking forward to this Syrian map course. On a quick note too, I was doing a little bit of reading here. I didn't get much game time in this week. I was just tremendously busy, and of course I've got my things to do around the house. It was tremendously hot over the last few weeks. Today's been the first day that it's been a little bit more bearable, about 10 degrees cooler, but the humidity was just way down, which here in the northern part of the Midwest was kind of nice. It does get very, very humid here, and a lot of people forget that. We get extreme colds, but we also get quite a lot of heat. It's always funny when people from other parts of the United States come up here and they're like, oh, I thought this state got really cold. And it does. We didn't realize it got hot. It does. It gets freaking hot. So anyway, I digress. So great book I was reading, Top Gun Days by Dave Bio-Baranek. Great book. I had a little bit of interaction with Dave through a Facebook channel, which I'm also prescribed to. And great guy, fairly well-known pilot. And he also flew in the Top Gun series, helping out with the filming of that particular movie as well. So he's got some great stories. Fun guy. And he actually did some Rio stuff with a group of virtual pilots from New Zealand as well, and Australia, which was really cool. He was sitting there back in the Rio seat, giving the guys instructions and talking about what kinds of things the real pilots were doing as they were running missions, and it was fun to watch. So, all right. That'll do. Thanks for watching another video and another weekly update from me. Stay tuned for more stuff as it comes to hand. And I hope you're all doing well. Like I said, stay safe out there. Carry on flying. This is Prickly Hedgehog out for another video. We'll see you next time, guys. Cheers.